Hey, what's up? What's up? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 50 States of Fear Iowa edition. You guys, I've been so stoked about this. I'm even more stoked because I got a special guest, and some of you guys may know, some of you guys may not. But for those who are new to the chat, I'm Dano. I'm the host of the Cryptid Podcast, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the chat. We are very, very engaging. We interact with each other, so feel free to ask questions and stuff. You guys are going to be talking about Iowa, and I'm going to be covering something that I found truly fascinating with this state, and my guest is going to be able to bring a lot more to the table, and probably more detailed stuff than I could possibly find outside of the BFRO website and anything else. But you guys know, thank you for all the support you show the channel. If you guys have had an account and you'd like to come on the show, shoot me an email at thecryptopodcast72@gmail.com. That's thecryptopodcast72@gmail.com. And if you guys are new to the chat, new to the channel, please drop a 1 in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from, because I'm super, super nosy, I guess, or exciting, or curious, fascinated, whatever you want to call it, and see where you guys are listening from. So, and if you haven't already subscribed, you guys, please consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, you guys, let's bring on my guest, a good friend of mine. At least I call him a good friend of mine. I don't know if I'm a good friend of his, but I'm telling you, he's a good friend of mine. And hopefully we will connect one way, shape, or form, because he lives south of me. And you guys, none other than Mr. Jeremiah Byron, the host of Sasquatch, or Bigfoot Society. I'm sorry, I got something else on my mind. Bigfoot Society is on. Jeremiah, what's up, buddy?
What's up, dog? Dude, I'm so pumped to be here. Yes, we are good friends, my pal. I appreciate what you are doing over here. It is a rocking community, and it's cool because it's not just Bigfoot, but I'm excited to be here, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. And, you know, I gave you some dates. You said, well, I'm available on this one, and this one. And I was like, okay, that's a weekday. And then we finally was able to make this one work, because I'm putting Iowa before Idaho. So,
dude,
hey, I'm telling you, I have no problem mixing it up. If someone's got a problem with it, well, you know, you don't have to watch the show. But, I mean, that's how it goes.
That is for sure, man.
Who out there is ready to hear about Iowa? I know we have someone in the chat who I've interviewed. And what county? Chelsea, I know you're in the chat. I saw you. I know you're in the chat. Where were you asking where her encounter was from? What county?
Oh, I was curious if it was Lynn County.
Yeah, Chelsea, what county was your sighting? Cherokee County. She said Cherokee County.
Oh, Cherokee? Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, very cool.
Right on. So here we go. You know, I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people say, my wife even said, I have a very good voice when it comes to this. She goes, there's something about your voice. Man, you've got the voice.
Dude, we're voice brothers then, because I'm loving it. It's funny because I used to work at a job a long time ago, and they'd be like, hey, your voice, you need to kick it up a little bit. And now, look at me now. I'm doing a podcast. What's up, guys?
Go.
So,
well, yeah. I hope that I'll be able to do this full time. So I got to keep growing, man. I got to keep growing.
If you build it, they will come. That is an Iowa joke, dude.
Hey, that's the truth, though, man.
It's the truth.
All right, so you guys, we're gonna go ahead and just jump right on, and then I'll be reading about the Van Meter visitor. You guys, I'm super stoked about that. And then Jeremiah is going to give us some insight on it, and he'll probably pop up with some other stories or encounters that he knows of there in Iowa. And then, you know, I'll go to the BFRO website. We'll read some reports from there, and probably some Dogman as well. So you guys, if you're not familiar with Jeremiah's show, he strictly does Bigfoot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I do a little bit of everything, you guys. So we're the same, but we're different.
Exactly. We're both from the Midwest, which is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm originally from the Pacific Northwest, but I live now in Minnesota. I'm just north of you, man. Probably 6 hours maybe ahead of you.
Yeah, not too bad because I'm central Iowa, so it's not too hard to get up there. So,
And I'm just a little bit north of the Twin Cities. So
mhm.
so about 6 hours maybe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I may have to come down for a weekend, man. We'll do some squatching.
I got places.
Hey, I'll bring some stuff. All right, you guys, let's check this bad boy out. Let's read about the Van Meter monster. Now, you guys, I have
Whoa, easy.
what?
It's okay.
Yeah, my
Sorry.
screen.
No. It's the Iowa thing. This is why I'm here, right?
Yeah.
It's the Van Meter Visitor.
Oh, Van Meter visitor.
That's a big deal.
So that's
You'll get run out of town if you
that,
don't say it.
that's
So,
kind of like
go
me
ahead.
calling Arkansas, Arkansas.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. All right, you guys, let's check this bad. All right. All right, you guys, let's check it out. So for 5 nights in 1903, a small Iowa town went to war with something that came out of a mine. Now, the Van Meter visitor was described as a large winged creature with a horn on its head that emitted a bright, blinding light, terrorizing the town of Van Meter for several nights. Again, it was described as a massive bat-like humanoid with a horn on its head, and it was witnessed by several prominent citizens, including a doctor and a bank manager. Now, the first person to see this was UG Griffith, and he saw this on September 29th, 1903. And he was a local farm equipment salesman and a businessman. And his encounter was, he was walking home around 1 a.m. when he noticed a strange light on top of a building. So, like pretty much any of us would do, he approached and the light suddenly moved. Now, he later described what he saw as a massive winged creature perched on the building. The light he first thought was a lantern was actually coming from the creature itself. He says as he got closer, the creature leapt from rooftop to rooftop and disappeared into the darkness. Now, this sighting triggered the entire town's panic. Imagine an entire town hearing a story and goes into a panic mode. The second sighting was by Dr. Alcott. And he actually says that he saw the creature at his window, and he was the town doctor. He was asleep when this blinding light shined directly into his bedroom window. He grabbed his firearm and ran to the window. What he saw was something he would never forget. He described it as an 8-foot tall humanoid creature with large bat-like wings, a horn on its forehead that was emitting a bright beam of light. Terrified, he emptied his firearm into the creature. But according to his reports, the creature was not affected at all and just simply fled into the night. Now, Peter Dunn, he was a local bank cashier manager. Now, he originally believed that this sighting was a prank. So he decided to stake out the bank overnight with a rifle. Around 1 a.m., he heard a very strange sound outside. He looked out the window and was immediately blinded by an intense beam of light. Dunn fired his weapon towards the creature, and then it vanished into darkness. Now, you guys, let me get over here. I have an article that was written in the local newspaper. And here it is. It says Peter Dunn, cashier of the only bank in town, fearing bank robbers, loaded a repeating shotgun with shells filled with buckshot and prepared to guard his funds next night. At 2 o'clock, he was blinded by a presence of a light with great intensity. Eventually, he recovered his senses significantly to distinguish the monster and fire through the window. The plate glass and sash were torn out, and the monster disappeared. The next morning, imprints of the great three-toed feet were discernible in the soft earth. Plaster casts of them were taken. That night, Dr. O.W. White saw the creature climbing down a telephone pole using a beak much like that of a manner of a parrot. As it struck the ground, it seemed to travel in leaps like a kangaroo, using its huge featherless wings to assist. It gave off no light. He fired at it, and he believes he wounded it. The shot was followed by an overpowering odor. Sidney Gregg, attracted by the shot, saw the monster fly away. But the climax came last night. The whole town was aroused by this time. Professor Martin, principal at the school of the schools, decided that upon the description, it was I can't even pronounce that word.
Antediluvian.
Antediluvian animal, which I don't even know what that is.
It means from before the flood.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Antediluvian animal. Shortly after midnight, T.L. Platt, foreman of the brick plant, heard a peculiar sound in an abandoned coal mine. And as the men had reported a similar sound before, a body of volunteers started to investigate. Presently, the monster merged from the shaft, accompanied by a smaller one. A score of shots were fired without effect. The whole town was aroused, and vigil was maintained the rest of the night, but without result until just at dawn, when the two monsters returned and disappeared down the shaft. And I think it's pretty cool that we get, an account from the local newspaper, and that kind of goes into the other encounters. O.V. White was the owner of the town hardware store.
Mm-hmm.
He woke up to a strange raspy gurgling noise outside. As it said, when he looked out, he saw the creature sitting on top of a telephone pole. He shot at it multiple times, reported the creature emitting a bright flash and horrible smell before disappearing. Sidney Gregg, as in the article, said it moved like a kangaroo. He ran outside, like they said in the article, that when he heard the gunfire, he ran out, saw the creature crouching on the pole. He said it had a bird-like beak. It had 4 legs, enormous wings. He said it did not fly immediately. Instead, it bound forward in great leaps like a kangaroo before taking flight. And then that's when J.L. Pratt, at the mine, he's a supervisor at the nearby coal mine, said he heard the terrifying noises coming from the abandoned mine shaft. He said that it sounded like Satan and a regiment of imps were coming for battle. Okay, that's pretty scary. Moments later, a large winged creature emerged from the mine, blasting him with its blinding light. Seconds later, a slightly smaller creature followed behind. Both creatures took flight while townsfolk opened fire. Now, the common details across the witnesses' testimony show that the creature was between 7 and 9 feet tall, had huge bat-like wings, a horn on its forehead emitting the bright light, horrible sulfur-like odor, strange screeching or gurgling noises, and possibly there were 2 creatures. Residents also state that the creature survived repeated gunfire. And you guys, that's what I have for the Van Meter visitor.
Bravo. Good job retelling that story. That was great, man.
Thank you, buddy.
So something I want to point out, one of your mods, Where's Wanda the DJ, says, I saw something like that flying over the Des Moines River night fishing back in like 2001. You should reach out to Dano, because this is Dano's channel, and tell Dano all about it. And I would also love to hear a lot about that. And if not, reach out to Chad Lewis. Can I provide some commentary on what you just shared, Dano?
Dude, absolutely,
Awesome.
man.
So I'm glad I get to share this part. So there's a lot of different accounts. My favorite part of the account, I believe, is more out of one of the Des Moines Register accounts. And so when they have the townspeople all riled up and they go out to the mines, the quote is that they had enough firepower to sink this Spanish Armada and like blow it to hell. Like it's a wild quote. And so these town people were revved up, right? Every year there is a really cool festival in Van Meter called the Van Meter Visitor Festival, and I would recommend people check that out. If you thought this story was fascinating, which it is, there's a lot of really cool things that happen, and this is the last weekend of September that this happens. And I'm usually involved as a vendor at this festival where, you know, I'll have a booth and talking to people at their Bigfoot encounters. But the really cool thing is, so there's a book about the Van Meter Visitor with the same name, and it's written by Chad Lewis. He's the guy who rediscovered the legend about, I want to say 10 to 15 years ago out of an old newspaper article with some of his buddies. And so they wrote a book, and then they went to the town. They were like, hey, we should start a festival, right? And so the town, a few people in the town were all about it. And so the cool thing about this festival is it's a one-day ordeal, one-day deal, and but you actually get to take a walking tour where you walk all these different places down the main street. And as Chad is telling you the story, usually you actually get to walk inside the bank where the window was blown out. And then you get to walk out to the edge of town to this field, and you get to see where the mine was, where the final stand against the visitor was. And the mine is underground now, but you can see the tile factory that was built on top of it.
Mhm.
It's such a cool thing. I mean, I've done it about 10 times. It's not too far away from where I'm at, so central Iowa. But I mean, if you're looking for an awesome cryptid experience, I'd recommend checking it out at least once. There's people, I mean, we had probably 4 to 5 Bigfoot vendors. So if you're in Iowa and you're like, I wish there was Bigfoot stuff, right now your best bet is to check out the Van Meter Visitor Festival. But I want to share a story, Dano, that I got a year ago in my email, and I got to talk to this person. So you've got Van Meter. About 20 minutes away, you've got the town of Patterson, which is a very small Iowa town. You have to drive down into this small kind of incline to get into the town, and you go around these corners. Now, this guy reached out to me. He was like, I just had the weirdest thing happen. This is about 2024, happened in the, I want to say it was in the fall. And he was like, I was driving through Patterson. It's about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. There was a red van in front of me. All of a sudden, this thing flew out in front of my car. It had about 8 to 9 foot wingspan, and it almost drove me off the road. And it was so crazy that the van in front of him also pulled over. And he was like, I didn't see much, but it was either a incredibly huge bat or something huge, 8 to 9 foot tall, 8 to 9 foot wingspan. And so that's a potential either resurgence of the visitor, or it could be like a Mothman type flying humanoid thing. There have been other people that have had sightings in the area. There is a individual, Chad Lewis took this account a few years back, where there was an individual who was walking his dog around Van Meter, and he saw on the ground what looked to be a massively huge, weird bat-looking thing with a huge wingspan. When they went back down the same way, it was totally gone. So there have been other recent sightings where people are seeing something large and winged. And there's your mod in the chat where the Des Moines River is a wild. There are so many weird sightings along the Des Moines River. Most of my Bigfoot sightings come from the Des Moines River, going all the way from Humboldt down to the southeast corner of the state. And I mean, There's so much, Dano. There's so, as we were talking before, there is so much weirdness to Iowa. People have no idea, and but the Van Meter Visitor is a great place to start.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
You
it's so
mentioned my
fun.
mod. He's been on my show, episode 116.
Oh, is that the Iowa one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that one was so good. I love
Yeah.
that one.
That
That was
was
really good.
that was super, super cool. And then again, like Chelsea, hers was in she just jumped in. She goes, Humboldt, you say? That's not terribly far from me, you know? So um
Oh,
there's a lot of stuff going on in Iowa that
the
we
guy
don't
lives in
know.
Dowds. I know something cool from his town.
Well, let's hear it.
Okay, this is cool. This is cool. All right. Okay, so I talked to this old guy. Dowds is by the Des Moines River, down in Van Buren County area, which is the craziest area in Iowa for Dogman and Bigfoot stuff. It is like bonkers, Dano. But this guy reached out to me. And I was talking to him, and he's like, my grandparents would tell me a story when I was growing up in Dowds. And in the 1940s, there was what they would call giants. And the name for these giants were called the Yehudis. It's
Oh,
pretty much
that.
it's pretty much like a group of Bigfoot around Dowds. And like there's so much activity that happens up and down Des Moines River. And I mean, Dogman. I mean, Van Buren County, there was the one individual I interviewed a few times where she had him on her property behind the house, and it got so bad. Like, okay, she was feeding them pancakes and syrup on her back porch, and it got so bad that she had to move because they came up through the roof in the middle of the house. Or sorry, I said roof. I meant b-
The floor.
the floor. Thank you. They came up through the floor. She left that same day. She left all her stuff, and I talk to her every once in a while, but my goodness, there is some really weird stuff that happens in Iowa. People, it's not all cornfield, guys. Like the eastern part of the state, southeast and northeast, some really weird Bigfoot stuff and Dogman stuff too.
Man, that's crazy. Um, let's kind of talk about you, and let's talk about, what kind of got you started in doing, Bigfoot, a Bigfoot society, and kind of since you've started doing this, where has it taken you?
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, it was definitely Connie. So how I got into Bigfoot Society was so I've always had a soft spot for weirdness because I used to watch a lot of stuff with my father when I was growing up, like um things like In Search of and Unsolved Mystery. So back in like the 90s, right? Mid 90s. And then when I worked at Apple for a bit, and me and my buddies, Andrew and Matt, and we were like, hey, there's actually like cryptid stuff around us. There's this festival, like the Van Meter Visitor Festival. So we were like, hey, let's check that out. And then Andrew got involved with, he's a filmmaker. He got involved with filming the documentary interviews for Small Town Monsters for Terror in the Skies. And so he was like, you should come with me, see how this all works. It's a cool process and we can hang out. So I was like, that's cool. So I go out, and at the last minute, he's like, I actually need someone to be off camera that can ask these guys questions to get the answers that I need. And he was like, can you do it? And I was like, that's fine. I don't care. But halfway through, I like fell in love with, I've never interviewed anyone before, and I fell in love with it. And I was like, this is amazing. So then I'd been listening to a lot of shows, and I was like, man, these guys are not asking the questions I would. I was like, I'm just going to start my own podcast. And it was like right before 2020. So it was a great time to get people and talk to them on the internet because they weren't going anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Bigfoot Society started primarily as a way for me to talk to people about stuff with cryptozoology. And then a few years ago, it turned into 100% Bigfoot. And that is a whole story in itself. It was because of a good friend. His name is Tate Hieronymus, Bigfoot researcher, who,
Mhm.
after much insistence, finally got me to go out into the field with him for a weekend, and we had some weird stuff happen. And ever since then, it really has never been the same. And that's really when, I mean, it was life changing. That's a whole another story. And if you want to later on, we can talk about weird stuff I've had happen out in the field when looking for Bigfoot in Iowa, because that alone is a whole discussion in itself. But I mean, people don't think there's a lot that happens in Iowa. There's a lot that happens in Iowa. It's a very, very active state.
Yeah, when you came on my show, and I think you were in like the first, I don't know, first 20 episodes you're in that time frame. And I remember I just started out. I don't even think I had like 1,500 subscribers. Now
Mhm.
I'm on the cusp of 7,900, I think. And um I didn't think that there was a lot of stuff going on in Iowa. Oh, she's on the cusp of 8,000, I should say, sorry. But I didn't think that there was gonna be, a lot of stuff going on in Iowa, because when people hear about Iowa, what do they think of? You know,
Corn and
corn.
pigs.
Exactly, like, there's nothing there. They think it's wide open, and it's just cornfields and hog farms, and it's really not. There's really a bunch of cool stuff, but
Yeah.
because I'm gonna have to ask you, because you like to go out to Oregon.
Yeah.
And you told me something that kinda happened in Oregon while you were there, one of the times. Do you wanna share that?
You're gonna have to give me this could be so many
So,
things. Can you give me a hint?
I wanna say you were out there for a conference,
Mhm.
and then you went out on, like, a little, I don't know.
Oh, is it what I saw?
Yes.
Yeah, the weird thing?
Yes.
Okay, so
Dude, that
I can yeah, I can share that real quick, yeah, because I wanna keep the focus on Iowa, I do.
yeah. Well, you're
I'll share
Iowa,
it real
man.
quick, real quick. So, so I was in town, Oak Ridge, Oregon for Sasquatch Summerfest, and, I'm gonna summarize the story. We had been out in the woods about 30 miles, a lot of weird stuff happened out there, and, I'd gotten some reaction. My legs all got swollen. I had to go to the hospital. They had no idea what it was. That's a whole other thing. They were like, "It looks like someone took a big stick and just whacked it across the side of your legs, and there's trauma internally." And uh, so that was weird. But I had to cancel all these interviews at the end, the last day, because I got into the hospital, got put on antibiotics. I had a fever. That's important to know. And then I was like, you know what? Well, whatever. So I'm going to get a burger and I'm just going to go drive around the reservoir where all these people during the festival had told me they'd had weird stuff happen. Right. So I'm driving down this road by the reservoir, and this gentleman had told me, this great guy, Bill Morris, had told me at the festival, he'd be like, "Hey, are you ready to see one?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'm ready to see one." And I was like, he's like, "Well, just saying you're right. I'm ready to see one." And so I was at the point where I was just driving down the road, and I was like, "You know what? Forget this." Like, not like forget this, but it's like you get to the point where you're like, you have a fever and you're not feeling good, and you're like, "Yeah, I just want to be home," right? Is I was like, you know what? Hey, I want to see one, right? See what happens. And like, no joke, like half a second later, I drove by a pine tree that was covered in vines, and there was like an 8-foot silhouette of what looked like be a Sasquatch in the vines, and then it just disappeared. And I was like, "Whoa, my goodness. I don't know what just happened, but that was weird." And the crazier thing, Dano, is when I came back or went back this last year, I was like, "I'm going to see if I can find this tree." I couldn't find the tree. That's
Mm,
weird, right? I mean, but then, like, I'm starting to learn about, like, the Green Man myth over in England, and, like, I've heard all these people that are like, "Yeah, I thought it was a tree. It ended up being a Sasquatch, or a stump ended up being a Sasquatch, or the
mhm.
tree moved." And so maybe it's not that crazy, right? I don't know. So, yeah, that's a weird thing that happened to me in Oregon.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
how long have you been doing this? So, about 6 years, 7 years?
February 2019. So what, 6? Just over 6. Yeah.
Yeah. So
No,
through
7. No, 7.
yeah, it's been 7 years, man.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think I've been following you for like 3 years now.
Nice.
Because I found you on YouTube, or was it on YouTube or was it on Spotify? I don't remember, but I remember the first time I heard your voice, I'm like, "This dude," and I'm thinking, "Oh, he's gonna have some great videos," and they're not videos, it's just audio with
Mhm.
amazing, pictures and stuff that pop up, and I'm like, "Okay, that's," and you're one of the reasons why I wanted to try doing this. I mean, Josh really
Oh, that's
pushed me o
awesome.
he pushed me over, Josh Smith, he's one that really pushed me over the edge to really get it started. But, listening to you and Wes Germer and Tony Merkel, you guys really made me wanna, like, I think I can do this. Maybe not as good, but I think I can do it. But
Thank you. That
dude,
means a lot. That's
dude,
awesome.
I'm telling you, you are in my top 3 shows that I listen to every week. So, um, what is if you kind of look back, what is one of the more craziest encounters that you've heard that someone has had in Iowa?
Hmm. Um, let's see. So a really wild one was I talked to a guy who was from Van Buren County, um, again, southeast corner, and this guy was telling me about, there's so if you want pretty much if you wanna see a dogman or Bigfoot in, Iowa, I would recommend checking out Lacey Keosauqua State Park from what I've heard. I haven't gotten there yet, but that's what I hear. So the story is this guy is around, Lacey Keosauqua State Park, and this is, like, back when he's in high school. Him and his buddy are traveling up, a ravine, so, stream, and they're going up, his buddy is, further up the stream around a corner. All of a sudden, his buddy's freaking out, running back towards him, and, the guy's like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "There's something up there, like, let's go." And he's like, "No, no, you're just acting silly." So he goes up the ravine. He's like, "I'm gonna check this out." And, like, he looks up, and he pretty much, like, looks up at a Bigfoot right there and just freaks out and books it out of there. That's the weirdest one that comes to mind. And it's not super weird, but it's like it's right there, right? The weirdest one I would um the Bigfoot trying to go through the basement. There's one on the west side. There's not a lot on the west side by Omaha, but there's one. I think it's Standing Stone State Park, something like that, north of Omaha. And this is back in the 70s, and these guys were driving around, and all of a sudden they see all these animals just come booking out of the woods, and it's like deer and everything else, and a Bigfoot pretty much comes booking out after them. Uh, they end up hitting the Bigfoot with the front of their car, and it limps off. But the crazy thing is that there's also an account, and this is in a book by David Weatherly, Iowa Cryptids, or Cryptids of the Hawkeye Estate. It pretty much the story got out because there was a guy that was working at a gas station in town, and he saw these uh, teens drive up, and they had like the front of their car was just messed up and there's blood all over it. And he's like, "What'd you guys do?" Pretty much, we ran into a Bigfoot. We're trying to get out.
Mm.
That's a weird one. Let's see. Trying to think of some other weird ones.
See, I haven't had that many people come forward from Iowa for Bigfoot encounters or dogman encounters. I'll tell you guys, I think like the place that I've been getting a lot of stuff from is Arkansas is huge. Because I don't know if you know, but Josh Smith just about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, he had a dogman encounter.
Oh, really? Oh my goodness.
Dude, he called me right after it happened. He was wigged out. Like
Oh my
like
goodness.
for real, he was wigged out about it. I can tell you about that. But Arkansas is a huge one for me. North Carolina was huge. Ohio. But yeah, not much from Iowa.
I actually I got another weird one. This is weird. So it's from the town of, it's the same town where I talked about earlier, Patterson
Mhm.
in Madison County, so central Iowa. Was talking to this older gentleman, and one of my hyper focuses, so there's Bigfoot, but then there's like really niche Bigfoot history in Iowa. And so back in the late 70s, there was a research group called the Iowa Bigfoot Research Center, or is something to the effect of that. But these guys would go around and they would get all these stories from the police officers, and they would go and investigate them. And you can find newspaper articles about these guys. But I got a contact from an older gentleman, and he was actually involved with the research guys, and he told me about what happened to him in 1978 in Patterson. Now, Patterson is a super small town, and during 1978, they were pretty much everyone in the town was having Bigfoot encounters, and it got so bad. This is wild. There was one night the mayor's wife was out in back of their house, and she's putting laundry up on the clothesline. Pretty much a Bigfoot comes booking out of the woods, starts chasing her. She barely gets to the back of her house and inside the house before it was pretty much trying to take her. He said there was about, in the summer of 1978, there was about 12 to 15 Bigfoot interactions. And these are from people that he knew personally. So he knew that they were legit. It was so crazy. He was like, the research guys would be up on a hill on the outside of town with a huge van and with these huge reel-to-reel recorders. And every night they would be recording these sounds and what we know today, like the Ohio Howl.
Mhm.
And he would just be recording them every single night. There's so much Bigfoot activity in Iowa for some reason, that especially in the late 1970s. Is a
Yeah.
wild, wild time.
I would love to be able to talk to those guys if they're still around.
I would too. Unfortunately, I mean, you know this too as an interviewer. If you get these guys that had stuff happening in the late 70s, you got to talk to them so quick, because they are not, I mean, these guys are not around anymore.
Yeah.
They don't have much time left, and you got to make sure the stories are documented, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Let me ask you. So, let's do a real quick Q&A because we got some people. I know Kristen, she's one of my mods. We call
Sure.
her the Hammer Queen because
Oh, all right.
she will drop them on people if they get dumb, and I love it. Even the other mods start calling for the hammer, and she starts dropping them. So,
Good.
Kirsten, you have the floor right now. What are some of your questions that you would have for Jeremiah? And she's from Nebraska.
Uh-oh.
So.
Well, that's all right. We won't hold it against her. I'm just kidding. Nebraska's great.
I've been to Funk, Nebraska.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've been there. There was a big Cabela's out there. So
Yeah, there is.
or I think it was in Funk, Nebraska. I don't know.
There's going to be a Buc-ee's in Nebraska. That's a huge deal.
Great. Kirsten, what are your questions? Because earlier you said you had questions. What are your questions? Yeah, Skitter just said that the Ohio Howl comes from a male.
Oh, yeah,
Bigfoot
didn't
slipping
look.
over
Look what I have. I
Oh,
didn't even think I have the Iowa Cup tonight. There we
look at
go.
that. I
Yeah.
have I have a cup with a tea in it.
Mm.
Nothing special. Okay, Kirsten, if you can hear us, it's all you. Joshua, what's going on? Let me ask you this before she starts asking the questions. What are your thoughts on a possible Oh, here she goes. I live next to Jeremiah. Does he think Dogman is associated with cornfields?
Um, so I will say I don't know a lot about Dogman, but I have heard a few things. There's not going to be a lot of details to this, but I'm thinking, let's see, I heard a one up in Northwest Iowa, and it was in a cornfield that a guy was driving alongside of. That I can't remember any other details. I do remember there was a guy who told me about one in Lynn County around 2012. Uh, he said it was a cow-sized bipedal canine creature with a hyena face, which I just think is horrifying. I mean, if I saw something with a hyena face and like those hyena type dogman, I'd be like, and I would be so mad. Like if so I haven't seen a Bigfoot yet, and like if I see a dogman, I'll be like, come on, guys, the dogman first. But um, yeah. So I think, and that's just because I mean, there's so much corn and there's so much corn alongside the road. So the chances, if you're not in Southeast Iowa or Northeast Iowa, you're probably going to have a sighting, and it's probably going to be corn. Now, when you get to Northeast Iowa, that's where you're in the driftless area, which is a beautiful area. You've got all these like ledges and rock faces, and it gets pretty cool up there. It's not all flatlander. So
you said Lynn County. Is that spelled Linn?
Yeah.
I have a Dogman encounter from Lynn County right here.
Oh.
You guys want me to read it? Yeah, they'll want me to read it. I'll read it anyway. So I was on patrol as a deputy sheriff for the county and was usually assigned to Highway 13 and Highway 30 corridors. However, I recall that that particular July 1st, however, that a young man, 15 or 16 years old, had been sucked into a storm drain, which emptied into a Cedar Lake area, the Quaker Oats plant. This is a place where heavy foot traffic and located in an urban set area. This is, I think, if this is the one I think it is, this is a pretty scary encounter. This is a place with heavy foot traffic and located in an urban setting. The area is also bordered by Mohawk Park. As the search went on into the night, the local PD got the county involved. I parked my this is the one I think it is. This is terrifying. I parked my cruiser at what I believed was an electric company storage yard. The yard had what I estimated to be a 10-foot fence that ran parallel to the paved bike trail on the other side, of which runs a large concrete spillway to siphon off floodwaters. I arrived at what I estimated to be roughly 11:30 to 11:45 p.m. I estimate only this because I assure you there never was, nor will there ever be, an official statement or record with my name on it telling this story. Now, before I go forward, you and I both know from people that we've interviewed and stuff that I've done in the military and things like that, is that if something like this happens, this could be a career killer.
Oh, absolutely.
If the wrong person hears it.
Yep.
So he says, as I left the lot, I was at the north end of the lake and headed west on foot. There's a lot of brush and saplings between the spillway and the trail, so I proceeded on to the point. The trail turns south near where Cedar Lake empties into the Cedar River under the railroad tracks leading into Quaker Oats. There are multiple tracks at the turn I mentioned before, and only the track furthest from myself had a train on it. With my attention on the spillway, I hardly noticed at first a faint red-colored light a distance north of my position. It was coming down the tracks on the other side of the train. I had thought it perhaps the taillights of a car, not being from this patrol route. I had no knowledge that that there was, in fact, no road in that direction. Uh, there ain't there ain't much things in this world that scare me. Put it simply, I've seen some crap in my frickin' days, and I'm just using different words for what he said.
Right.
But nothing prepared me for what I saw that night. The lights disappeared, and that was that, or so I figured. About 5 minutes passed before I started to hear snorting, almost sniffing sounds coming from the other side of the tracks. When I turned, the first thing I saw were its eyes. They glowed a dull red. The thing was at least 8 feet tall, pushing 450 pounds. I judge this by the fact that I am 6'4" and 280. I turned my light, and to this day, I wish I hadn't. It had pointed ears and a long muzzle. It looked me right in the face before it bolted into the timber. It was not a mask, and it was not a person in a costume. Who would walk up on an armed police officer with his police radio, full uniform, and risk getting shot? I remember it was so surreal, so final, I guess. I know what's in the dark now. People can say or think what they want, but even with a chambered round in my full magazine in my Glock 40, I didn't feel like I had enough firepower. I unholstered. I fell back towards the trail into the electric company storage yard, putting the fence to my back. I made a hasty retreat to the lot with my cruiser. I don't think I holstered my pistol until I got out of the park. I never spoke of this, and honestly don't know why I'm doing it now. Only one thing is for certain that I knew uh, it knew that I was out there and it was watching my every move. I'll never go back. And I no longer work with the department since becoming a minister, but I still carry my Glock with hollow point rounds tipped with silver if, and I rarely do, leave the house at night. And that
Mm.
was reported July 1st, 2014.
Dang, dude. Oof. That's some wild stuff.
I
Um,
mean,
yeah.
you gotta think. You have to think on the things police officers or military see, and for something like this to unnerve this person, this deputy sheriff, to the point where he said, "I didn't holster my firearm until I was completely out of that area." And I think he was right. I think that he feels that that thing was actually watching him
Mhm.
and wanting to know what was going on until he realized, what was, what it was. So,
Um, I just remembered, so I can share something that I wish was not in Iowa, but I have heard of this.
mhm,
So I actually did an episode. This is a few years back, and I saw someone in the chat talking about Boone. Boone, Iowa has a lot of weird stuff in it, and um, pale crawler stuff freaks me out.
mhm,
I don't like it. I don't think that there's anything good about it, and I think that everything about it leads to something real bad. Um, but allegedly, so that this individual who I had on, who's telling me about his all of his Bigfoot encounters around the Boone area, but a little bit of it was he was sharing. If you know Boone, there's a big park on the um, inside of Boone. There's a big city park, right? And so he's hanging out at that park at about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning multiple times. He actually has sightings of pale crawlers, and they actually end up chasing him. I'm like, oh my goodness. That's
what?
another thing. I don't know if I could handle that, man. Like I could handle Bigfoot, but like that's a whole different story when you have pale crawlers or rakes in the equation.
Well, I saw a rake when I was a senior in high school.
I don't know how you got through it.
Young and dumb and had shotguns and thought we were invincible.
Yeah.
So Kristen asks a question. Jeremiah, Jeremiah, your son saw something. Did he ever share the picture?
Um, yeah. So I don't have it with me, so I can't show it right here. But no, he drew a picture of what looked to be, so it was a tree
Mm-hmm.
and a large hairy head peeking around the side of the tree, and then an arm with a big hand on kind of like grasping on the outside of the tree. Um, I do have every once in a while I'll kind of bring it up because as he grows older, he might have different thoughts about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And last time I talked to him a few weeks ago about it, he's like, I'm not really sure what I saw that day, but it was something that was tall and it had a hairy face. And
Yeah.
I just don't know what I saw, Dad. I was like,
It
that's all right, man. That's all right,
You guys had gone camping that time. I
Yeah.
remember, yeah, you and I were talking
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, that's crazy. And then she asked another question. Do you believe what he had in his encounter was infrasound? So does Jeremiah believe what he had in his encounter was infrasound?
Yeah, so I think I've dealt with infrasound twice. So the first time, well, one of the times would be in Oregon in that research area. There was a time where I couldn't move out of a chair for 5 minutes. It was
Mm.
like I was just like my whole body was paralyzed, and then all of a sudden it was like someone had been like snapped their fingers, and then I could like, oh, what happened, right? The other time was my son and I were camping in this area I go to. It's the same one where Tate showed me this area. It's extremely active, and I don't share where it is because people have shared other areas in Iowa, and they've been put on Finding Bigfoot, and now everyone and their mom goes there, and it's ruined. So,
Mhm.
So we're at this area, and this is just one of the things that have happened there. The weird stuff always happens at dusk, and so we're hanging out around a campsite, and all of a sudden, my heart starts beating really fast, and I don't have like heart issues, and my kid starts like running around the campsite like crazy. Just like he doesn't really act like that. He's more of a laid back kid, but he just starts getting revved up. And so I'm like trying to be like, what's up with him? But my heart's getting weird, right? To the point where I'm like, I don't know if we're going to have a medical issue here. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so I sit down in my chair. When I sit down in my chair, it goes away. I'm like, that's weird. So I stand up again, and the heart thing kicks in. I'm like, oh, this is really weird. Now, I don't know if I shared this part with you. I think I did, but right before then, there was a gentleman that I had been talking to, and I was like, what should I do in this situation? And he's like, well, what you need to do is you should say this like Indian phrase and like beat your chest a few times. And I'm not really sure if that was the smart thing to do in that situation, because what I
Yeah.
think happened is it kicked it off. No offense to this guy if he's watching, like, I love you, brother. But so after that, I was like, man, I don't know what's going on here. So we went to bed early. So we get in the tent. The other weird thing that happened that night, so he goes to sleep right away. I'm laying back, and I'm like, I can't go to sleep. Something is going on here. It's about 2 a.m. in the morning. This is a brand new tent. Everything is brand new. You know the main tent pole that runs across these tents, the main one?
Mhm.
There's no wind. Nothing is going on weather-wise. All of a sudden, it's like something had taken that main tent pole and snapped it in half, and the entire tent fell down on top of us. And I'm just laying there. I'm like, this is it. We're done. We are done. And I'll tell you, like that next day, I was like, I'm done with this. And we like packed up at daybreak, and we were out of there. And like I had a terrible attitude. I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't like this. And like 10 miles out of the area, it was just like night and day. That whole attitude was gone. So I don't know what happened that night. It was really weird. And I can tell you another thing that happened when I took my son out there this last year during the corn sweat, which is the humidity gets really high. It's an Iowa thing. And so we're in the tent. It's like 100% humidity. We have the tent fly off. So it's just, we're seeing the stars. There's no wind. It's super humid. He's got his toy lantern hanging from the hook inside the tent. And we pretty much pass out because it is so hot. And we're like, my kids not going to want to go camping again. And okay, well, let's go to bed. We just pass out. I remember waking up at 2 a.m. I'm looking up. That lantern is swaying back and forth like crazy. There's no wind. And I hear in the background, I hear something that sounds like it is beating on this tree with all its might. And it sounds like the maddest monkey chimpanzee type thing I've ever heard in my life. And the next morning I was like, I'm not going to say a thing. I'm not going to say a thing about it. And my son is like, hey, Dad, did you hear that really angry monkey last night? And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely wild. So I don't know if something came up to the tent and like hit it because there's no wind. There's no logical reason that lantern should be like going back and forth. Like it was that whole area that we go to. There's a lot of other weird stuff I've experienced in that area. If you want to, I can talk about it too, but it's totally up to you. It's such a weird area there.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about that. But I have two questions.
Okay.
Randall in chat asked earlier, did you ever do a show with Josh Gates?
No.
Nope. Okay.
No, Josh is cool. I've met him in Iowa. He went to the DMAC lecture series one year in Des Moines, and he was like talking about aliens, and he was like, hey, does anyone here believe in Bigfoot? Like, no, he was trying to make a point. He was like, everyone that believes in aliens stand up, and like half the audience stood up. He was like, yeah, there you go. And this is before I got into the podcast. This is way back, right? Yeah. And he was like, hey, does anyone here believe in Bigfoot? And I was the only one that, was up. And he's like, well, there you go. And I was like, whatever, dude. But
awesome. He called you out without calling you out.
A little bit. But I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy. We're both from Mass. So,
Yeah.
You go.
The other question is, what are your feelings on Oak Ridge?
I love Oak Ridge.
And
I love it.
Is Oak Ridge, is that a town in?
Oh, yeah. So Oak Ridge is a small town in the Willamette National Forest, 45 minutes southeast of Eugene. It's where I've gone for the last 2 years. Sasquatch Summerfest Festival, I'll be going there again. I'll be speaking this time. I have interviewed over 50 people with encounters from this one small mountain town that is literally surrounded by thousands of acres. And I'm going to leave it there. If you want to hear about Oak Ridge, go to the Bigfoot Society YouTube channel under playlists. I have a playlist for every state. I have a playlist by itself for Oak Ridge with over 50 episodes, and you can just binge it and find out about all the weirdness. If you've seen the show Gravity Falls, Oak Ridge is the real Gravity Falls, is what it comes down to. It is absolutely weird.
When is that? Was it Oak Ridge Sasquatch?
Sasquatch Summerfest is hold on. It's July 10th and 11th this year. So
yeah, someone mentioned that. They said you can get half price tickets through you. That's what
you can.
Oh, can you?
It's pretty cool. Yeah. So I can't remember the code, but if you go to one of my episodes, it's in the description, like where to go to get tickets and the code to get costs off and stuff. So
about how far is that from here, from where I'm at?
Well, I mean, Dano, it's I mean, that's what, half the country. I would guess if you were driving, it would probably be about like 26 hours. I have no idea. So, thanks, Andrew.
Is that
DFS?
Is that out in Oregon?
Yeah, Sound Oregon.
Okay,
Dude.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
thought it
yeah.
was in Iowa.
No, we don't
Yeah,
have any
yeah, yeah.
Bigfoot stuff in Iowa yet. The Van Meter Visitor is the closest to a Bigfoot festival we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And you said you're gonna be speaking there this year?
in Oak Ridge, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. There you guys go. 1,500 miles, probably.
Okay.
I'd have to fly.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I would have to fly. See, I don't have a real ID though. I refuse to get one.
That's so cool, though.
What, to get a real ID?
I don't know. I think I have one. It's a star thing, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, whatevs, I'll do it.
You know, it's like $48 here in Minnesota to get it. You know, no big deal. Except for
Right.
me, it's going to cost me close to $300 to get it because I have to go through the Belgian consulate and the State Department to get all the documentation showing and proving that I'm an American citizen and that I was born to American parents who were stationed over in Germany or Belgium.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so it's
Wow.
ridiculous. What I have is all it's all like in the up and up, but because it doesn't have the embossed whatever embossed stamp, they won't accept it. They're saying it's not. Yeah, it's
Dude,
stupid.
you gotta get that taken care of because people are gonna start saying, "Hey, Daniel, we want you to come speak at our conferences," and you're not gonna be able to drive everywhere, you know?
Yeah, I'll just have
Yeah.
to take an extra day of vacation, or I'll just pay the $45.
Yeah, there you go.
But you know, well, I have an alternate source of identification. It's my VA, my veterans card.
Nice,
So,
dude.
so I just show that about that. You know,
Awesome.
like here you go. So you know, let's talk about a little bit about the about some stuff that's going on there in Iowa. Like what are some of the most recent things you've heard that's going on?
Man, there's not a lot. Trying to think what is it, and it's annoying too because it's like I'm always checking in with shout out to BFRO investigator for Iowa, Ontario Richardson. She's great. She's been doing a lot of the more recent ones, but let me look real quick.
And what county do you live in?
I live in Central.
You live in Central.
I'm not going to give away
Iowa.
my exact.
Yeah,
county.
you don't need to. Now, you can give it to me, but I won't.
Yeah, no, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
I'll give you my street address, Dano, but not on here. Just cause we'll leave it at that. So, yeah.
You guys can't have it.
No, safety is a number one priority, if you get what I mean. Trying to think what's the newest stuff. Man, dude, to be honest, the newest stuff is probably the stuff I'm experiencing at that place. Like BFRO doesn't have a lot of recent stuff, but like whenever I go to this area, the stuff happens, man. Like I've experienced wood knocks there. I've heard whoops there multiple times. I've had a person, or I don't know if it was a person or if it's Bigfoot or what. I've had something walking around my tent at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm just like laying there, and it felt like my blood pressure is going crazy. And then the next day, I get out of my tent and look at the picnic table, and there's a plastic fork with a squirrel tail through the tines. So I don't know if that's some kind of weird gift or what. I was freaked out. I was like, what is happening in this area?
Man,
It's
I hope you have
really
pictures
weird.
of that.
I might actually. I have to look through my
my
iPhoto
goodness.
and I'll send it to you if I do. I'm pretty sure I took a picture of it, but
Cool.
yeah. Oh, well, Robbie.
That's hilarious.
Robbie. He's funny.
Secret squirrel. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I actually got a chance to meet Robbie when I went to Tennessee for the
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tennessee Wild Man.
Oh, man.
Cryptic Conference. Robbie is a nice dude. I was there hanging out with Harley Owens, Daryl Denton.
Yep.
Daryl's wife. I saw Joe and Jesse Doyle, Kumbo Baker, MK Davis. Dude, saw a lot of guys.
MK is so funny. He's the funniest dude.
He is. It's you have to catch one of the stories that he told me. This is a great story, you guys. And I go, has nothing to do with Iowa, but it's coming from two legends in this community. And I was talking to MK. He's like, so would you like to hear or was it Kumbo? Yeah, I think it was Kumbo. He goes, Ed, you want to hear about a story about where MK almost got me killed? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to hear that story? And he's like, this is like in the infancy of the internet. And instead of like having things like this, they would have like chat rooms and people, go and you could share files and things in chat rooms. And Kumbo a had like a brand new like stereo speaker thing attached to his computer, so he could hear these things pretty clear. And I guess MK was playing this audio, and it was of a Sasquatch vocalization, and it was like reverberating through the house. And we'll just say that it caught the attention of something, and this something decided to come walking up on Kumbo Baker's porch because he heard this, and it made its presence known. Like, oh, really? It's come from here? I got to go check this out. He said this thing walked right up on his front porch.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, he goes, I walked away to do something, and I didn't realize he kept playing it and kept playing it, and it just, yep. So that's I thought it was a pretty cool story.
I have a recent one. Sorry, I sometimes I need a minute or two for it to kick in. If your audience knows where Madrid, Iowa is, which is just outside of central Iowa, it's a little north. So this past November, there was a 20-foot away face-to-face sighting at the gravel pit in Madrid, Iowa area. This is something that someone told me face-to-face. It's not on, I wasn't able to interview them, but if you're familiar with that area, I would be looking into the gravel pit around Madrid, Iowa. So
I'm writing every place down you're talking about, man, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of it, just kind of poking around and stuff like that. So, I've got Iowa up here on the BFRO. And I mean, most recent reports I'm seeing is like 2017. It's a Class B. We have a Class A multiple sightings on family property near Cascade. This was, I guess, from the 15th November 2005 to 2016. And is it Dubuque?
Dubuque, yeah.
I always want to say Dubois. Dubuque County. This town is Dubuque, Simon Road. Well, in total, I've had 5 encounters. The first one being about a year ago. I was bow hunting, and this big hairy man like thing just came up and sat right underneath my tree stand. I was thinking about shooting him, but I didn't want to scare him out of the country. So I sat there quiet as possible. Then he just got up and trotted off. The second encounter was 5 months ago. I was riding on my four-wheeler, and I went past this big patch of woods, and he stood up there and just watched me. The third encounter was 2 months ago. I was driving home from work, and he was retreating into the woods by a telephone pole. The fourth encounter was 5 days ago after the third encounter, and the Bigfoot was walking through one of our old knockdown barns, and I was out on my porch just watching him. He looked at me, then he ran off and hurdled a 5-foot barbed wire fence. The last encounter was about 3 days ago, and he was going down the trail in our woods. So this means that from what I'm reading, it sounds like this guy is seeing the same one on his property.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Absolutely. That's why Teledriven, I want to address Teledriven.
Sure.
So it's not that the BFRO doesn't publish the accounts from Iowa, and I know that because I have individuals allegedly checking their database for stuff that doesn't get published. There's nothing that doesn't get published. Now, maybe there's stuff that gets thrown out, but that's a whole other discussion in itself because they tend to stick with certain types of reports, and that's whatever they want to do. But it's not that they're choosing not to publish stuff from Iowa. So there you go.
And I will tell you, I had someone on who is a BFRO investigator.
Mm-hmm.
I had Marianne on.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, I love talking to her.
I'm speaking at the Ozark Bigfoot conference, Ozark Mountain Bigfoot.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah, she asked me to speak. She said that sometimes stuff isn't getting published right away because there's still ongoing investigations. So
that's a good point.
What we're seeing completed investigations when they're getting posted. So, but I mean, imagine it's not like they have 25,000 investigators going out to every single one of these reports. No. I can imagine the reports are just bananas.
It's got to be wild. I remembered another. This is a wild thing. So people from Iowa, if you see your local conservation have, or DNR or whatever, have a Bigfoot presentation come up, I would recommend you attend it because it's really well done. And we had one out in my area, and the gentleman was sharing some really wild stuff. One story he shared was from a place called Chautauqua Bottoms, which is it's like northeast of Des Moines, over like on the way to Marshalltown. Story goes, pretty much these two guys were out hunting. They had their dog with them, so they're holding onto the dog with a leash, and all of a sudden the dog goes crazy, runs off without him. It's got its leash. They hear the dog running, chasing after something. All of a sudden they hear this like yelp, and then nothing. It's like, oh man. So like, we got to find this dog. They find the dog. Something had taken the leash with the dog still attached, put the leash up on a high up branch and tied it up. And so that the dog is just hanging there with its toes just barely touching the ground. And it's like, they didn't see a Bigfoot, but it's like, what kind of thing could have done that? Now the dog was fine. It just didn't really go chasing animals like that afterwards. But it is some, not all the weird, scary stuff happens down in Oklahoma. I mean, that's one kind of scary thing that happened in Iowa. So there you go.
Yeah. Again, I haven't heard, the only thing when I hear something is when I go and I read stuff from Iowa or anything like that. But again, your encounters with Bigfoot, I think are pretty, I would say, edgy in the way that, like you said, you had something walking around your tent and you find a squirrel, part of a squirrel tail in a fork.
I know, dude.
And then Chelsea's encounter with Dogman, that thing coming up out of that ditch, chasing her minivan, and she looks over, there it is, looking in the window at her. I don't know what to do with that. Let me ask you, someone asked, how many different kinds of Bigfoot would you say there are? I mean, I've heard 8, I've heard 10, I've heard 12, I've heard 6.
Are we talking like could be anywhere type question? Okay.
Because I mean, you can think about like this. If you go down south, we're looking at boogers or wood boogers. If you go to the Pacific Northwest, you have the ones that look like patty. Then you have the ones up in Alaska. It's just, but I mean, someone had posted, and I wish I had the picture. Like, it had different boxes in it with different looking Bigfoots. Yeah. But what are your thoughts, man? What do you think?
I think there's different regional variants, and combine that with the Bergman's rule, which is as you get closer to the equator, the things are smaller. As you get farther away, they're bigger. So you look at the reports about Bigfoot up in Alaska, they're a lot bigger than the ones down in Florida, like your skunk ape. But then certain parts of the US, you have, you're going to have your white Bigfoot reports, like down in Alabama or Northeast Pennsylvania. Man, I've even gotten, I talked to a researcher in the Mount Hood National Forest. This guy, he's no longer with us. His name is Frank Kniester, died of it passed away, unfortunately. And he was in an area that he was spending 30 years, which is crazy. He was doing like Jane Goodall stuff, man. It was nuts. Like he was taken far too early. And it was to the point where he was seeing female Bigfoot carrying adolescents, and he was communicating with them with sign language. There was an actual albino Bigfoot that he would see in this area. White hair, pink eyes, everything. Like it was actual albino. It was so cool because this guy had an open intuition, but he was also a science teacher as well. Like he had that. So he had the perfect combination, and he was taken. And my heart was broken. I spent four hours with him, but we had plans. I was going to come back. We were going to just spend, weeks hiking around Mount Hood and checking out his area. And it's like, you never know when a person it's the last time. You have to treat every time with a person like it's the last,
Yeah. And it's just like, I had a chance to meet Dr. Meldrum.
Yeah.
And I missed going to, I think he was up here a couple of years ago up at the Minnesota Bigfoot Conference. And I didn't go to that. And I wish I would have,
Yeah.
and it was really, and when I went up there just this past year, I saw, Doug Hychek, who I'm friends with. And I saw how Doug, he was hit pretty hard.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And so was Russell Accord, and so was Abe Del Rio. That they were all were hit pretty hard. And I've watched videos with him on there, and I think he'd just been a great person to talk to, because he'll tell you what he thinks it is, and lets you know that there is the possibility of these things being out there without completely saying it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. No,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, that's what I loved about watching. And I, whenever I can, I watch some stuff, and I always take notes because he'll say something. I'll go back and listen to it again so I can write it down again. It's just some of the stuff that he says are fantastic. And I've been kind of looking into the chats, here. I'm seeing a lot of new names, man. I think they're coming over from your TikTok, man.
Yeah, and man, if
Awesome.
if my audience is here, I hope you guys are. I know some of you are. Make sure you're subscribing to Dano's show, the Cryptid Podcast, and turn all notifications on, because this is one you're going to want to add to your lineup. It's really good.
I appreciate it, man. I do. I drop 2 episodes a week, 2 p.m. on Wednesdays and 2 p.m. on Fridays. Then I do this Saturday night live stream where we call 50 States of Fear. And so I'm covering Idaho next, and then the next 2 weeks I'm skipping. I'll be in Michigan, and then when I get back, I'll be doing Indiana or Illinois and Indiana, and then we hit up Kansas. But
Oh, nice.
I'm going to be in the Cadillac area, and Bigfoot Michigan Rob had his Bigfoot encounter. And if you've never heard of that encounter is crazy.
It's great. It's in my book that's coming out.
Oh, I need to sign. I need to sign that thing for you. Dude, can I just give you a verbal yes? You can use my story.
No,
You need the written one.
I do.
All right, I'll send that back to you.
Because it's like I have a. Did I send you the form link?
I think you did in a message or something.
It
like
helps
that.
me keep
Email.
it straight and legal. So
Yep, I got you. I'll send it back to you, man.
All right, cool.
I don't know which one you want.
Whichever one affected you the most.
Oh, you're gonna make me tell the one that I cry on.
Oh,
Oh,
well.
I will. I will. Yeah, the last encounter I had, man, was like November timeframe of
Mm.
last year, and it was in Cadillac, is in Boone, Michigan.
Oh my goodness.
I was going out, and here's what's cool is my son, his in-laws property literally butts right up to the Manistee National Forest.
Mm.
And they have like 36 acres of land. It's like, here's the national forest, here's their land. And like the whole like 2 or 3 days prior to this happening, I was out there whoop and making yells and
Yeah.
wood knocks. And every time I'd whoop or I'd yell, the dogs in there, because this is like farmland out here. And there's the houses are not super close together. And every time I would do that, every dog in the area would lose their mind. And so that makes me think that, yeah, they've heard something, you know, or they've seen something or they've encountered something. So we had just got back from dinner. I think it was either my son or my daughter-in-law had left something in our vehicle. I go out to the vehicle to get it, and just as I get to the car, or right as I walked out the door, I whooped one last time, just a whoop like that. And I just got to the car. I hit the unlock, and I heard three crystal clear, loud knocks. Something like something like this. But louder than that. And it was about 200 feet in front of me, roughly. Couldn't see anything. It was pitch black out there. I'm like, okay, I gotcha. And I did an about face. And I got back in the house real quick. I mean, again, it's if you have that ability to see, then you're like, yeah, yeah, okay, I got.
Mhm.
But when it's pitch black out there, there's no lights. Yeah, it gets kind of
It's
crazy.
good. It gets wild quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good time. So what else you got? Anything else you want to share, man? Anything comes to mind?
I would say so something I do want to share. I wish more people knew about this. So whenever I talk to someone about their Bigfoot encounter, I have been putting it on a map. And so if you go to my website, which is BigfootSocietyPodcast.com, and you click on sighting map, I mean, it's well over 1,000 dots on there now. And this is stuff at the point, I mean, it's all over the world now, people that I've talked to for the show. So you can look at your area, see what reports, and these are reports where I've personally talked to the person, and then you can see what episode it is and you check out that episode. But that's something I want to make sure that people know about.
Okay, let me do this real quick here. Do this. So this is it right here,
Yeah.
and go to the
Sighting
sighting map right
You
up here.
got it. Yep.
What?
I know, right? Like zoom in on the US, dude.
Dude.
Those are all people I've talked to. And I still have 200 episodes to go through. Like that's how many people I've talked to.
No way.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Am I on here?
No, I haven't gotten back for 2 years yet.
Well,
That's how
show you
much
right
I
where
have
had
left to
mine.
do.
Let's see here. That's Puyallup. North Puyallup. Milton Lake Taps. Come on now.
Wow, so you're right in that area? Wow.
I'm further out.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking for Graham, Washington. I'm trying to figure out because here's South Hill. Okay. Oh, here we go. Right here.
Oh, okay.
And let's see here. So, okay, we're going to go out further out this way. You guys are getting to see right around where I saw. So this right here is where my dad and my brother and I lived at one time, was this adult
Okay.
RV park. Okay. And at first, this was not here. This area was not here. Just this area right here. And then my dad decided, well, he wanted to move and he wanted to take us out to where, not to grow up there, but he wanted us to get out here. So we drove, where was it at? Sorry, guys. If I'm making you guys dizzy, I apologize. Where is it at? 260. 252. No, but it's not it. Well, come on now. I think it's further down this way. Yep, this is where it was. So we came down here, down this road to 274th. We came all the way over here.
Mhm.
And then here's 86th Avenue. And then our area was like right here. It was off of this road. Now, when I lived
wow.
here, none of this was here.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be way different.
Yep. This was back
Mhm.
in 84, and this was all this was all woods. This whole area was all woods. There was none of these side streets, and this was a gravel road. And we lived like probably right around this area in the gravel road.
Okay.
And it was all woods. Everything was woods. And I remember the road ended like here on the end here. And this road right here was not here either. It didn't continue this far in. It stopped like literally right here is where it stopped. And all this,
Wow.
yeah. And none of this was over here either. None of this was over here either. This was all woods at one time. So, but yeah, man, you guys got to check this place out. I mean, Jeremiah, man, this is fantastic.
Isn't it wild, dude? And this is stuff from like when I have people come on TikTok live streams and then I use it in the show. So it's stuff from TikTok too.
Oh, sweet. Whoa, you got something here in Kenya?
Yeah.
Witness reports communication with small hairy humanoid being identified as a Ogowe prior to a planned expedition. Dude,
That wild.
man, you make me want to be better. I am small potatoes, man. I need to do something.
The weirdest one that's on the map is if you go over to where Iraq is.
Yeah.
I talked to a guy. Yeah, right there. He had a story about how during the Gulf War, it was a large horned Sasquatch-like entity that was throwing rocks at him. That's probably one of the weirdest things I've ever taken.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you could spend forever on there. So it's a good resource, that and Bigfoot Mapping Project for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll tell you right now, I'll be hitting up your website just to kind of see if I can pull some stories off of there, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be fantastic. But okay, you guys, before we go, Jeremiah, I kind of support two small companies, two small businesses. And I really, really am thankful for them because they've actually donated some stuff for giveaways. And so those small companies are Allied Coffee Roasters out of Cadillac, Michigan. And if you guys like a great cup of coffee, definitely check out owleycoffee.com. That's OWLEYE coffee.com. And if you guys do decide to purchase some coffee, go at checkout, type in the promo code DANO, DANO, all capital letters, and you guys will get 15% off of your order. Also, Rustic Supply Company, if you guys like this is all metalwork. I've been in contact with the owner today. He's coming out with new stuff. But if you like a rustic decor, like an outdoorsy Western motif, this is what they do, guys. So check them out on Etsy. It's etsy.com/shop/the Rustic Supply Co. And, they do cryptid stuff. He's coming up with some new cryptid stuff. And, yeah, so give them some love, you guys. Show them, let's just push that Etsy. But I will show you, here's one of the items that they sent. And I'll be doing a giveaway in April. It'll be the end of April when I do a giveaway. And this is the type of stuff that they do.
Oh, that's nice, dude. Wow.
So they do stuff like this. They have ones with little hooks on it, so you can hang it on the wall, hook like, whatever, a beanie on there, a purse, a bag, whatever you want to. So that, and then they have some smaller things on there. They have lamps, things like that. And then they have a really big one that they sent, which I think is pretty cool. And it's this one here. It looks like
Is this supposed to be a frogman? Yeah.
yeah, the Loveland Frogman.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool, man. It's like one of those sports pennants. And so you can hang it up on your
Wow.
wall, in your man cave or whatever. And if I'll tell you right now, when
Dude.
I get my office cleaned out, that's definitely what I want to do. I want to put some wooden slats up on the wall so I can hang stuff like that. So, but yeah. Let me ask you, where can people find you if you are new to these people, which
Yeah.
I very highly doubt it, but where can they find you?
So, if you like listening to Bigfoot encounters, that is what Bigfoot Society is all about. Interviewing people and allowing them to tell their story in a safe environment, much like the Cryptid Podcast does. So you can find Bigfoot Society on YouTube, wherever you listen to audio podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast. If you want to find all the links, it's BigfootSocietyPodcast.com. I do lives over on TikTok, which is Bigfoot.society, and some wild stuff happens. People come up and share their encounters live. Those are the main things. I mean, the Bigfoot Society Podcast.com has all the links you would ever need. So check it out. And again, guys, if you haven't shared your encounter with Dano, send him an email tonight. You need to share it because it'll make you feel better. And if you also would like to share it with me, if I could be so bold as to ask,
Absolutely.
you can send me an email too at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. But make sure you send it to Dano first because you gotta love the Cryptid Podcast. So there you go.
And if you guys haven't subscribed or followed Jeremiah, please do so. Like I told him before, I found you before I found Josh.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I've been listening to you longer than I've been listening to Josh.
That's
Um,
wild.
but yeah, you guys definitely, if you haven't subscribed or followed, definitely check out Jeremiah's website. It's BigfootSocietyPodcast.com. Check it out. There's Ash has just dropped the YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit that up as well. What is that? Jeremiah is not a Fed.
Oh, that's because of the video I put out. I've had so many people that are like, Jeremiah's a Fed. No, I'm really not, guys. But
Do you want to know? You know what's funny is I've had a couple people come to me and tell me that Vic Cundiff is a Fed.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
goodness. Like he's a plant or something? I get that
Yeah.
one too.
Yep.
That's
Like
wild, guys. Come on.
that's why we never see his face, and that's not his
Oh, I
real
get it.
voice. And people say there's just odd coincidences after they go on his show, and it's funny that he'll ask just very precise, specific questions that you normally wouldn't hear. But
That's ridiculous, dude. I've never talked to Vic, but I'm sure he's a really nice guy.
he is. I was on his show, and it's funny, he does so many things. He does Bigfoot, he
Mhm.
does Dogman. I mean, he's got like 4 or 5 different podcasts he does. And someone was talking to him about me. And out of the blue, he sends me a message. Hey, I was wondering if you'd be interested in coming on my, Bigfoot, Encounters podcast. And I start laughing and I go, Vic, I've already been on your show. And he's like, oh man, he goes, I'm
that's funny.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. Man, he's such a nice guy. But someone just said, and I know they were joking. They go, Dano is a Fed. I'm not a Fed, you guys. Or am I? No, I'm just
I'll
kidding.
never tell.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you, you got one more story for us. Anything.
Anything. Let's share something weird that I heard out of Oak Ridge, Oregon. It's a really weird one. I'm not sure what to think about it. The story goes that this guy, it was when he was a young child and he was living out in Oak Ridge and he's out in the woods. He slips, falls, and a rock falls on him and he breaks his leg. And he's thinking, he's like, that's it, I'm done. I can't move. The story goes, out of nowhere, a Bigfoot comes and takes the rock off his leg, carries him all the way back to the wood line that's on the property edge of his house, and then leaves him at the wood line. That's weird, right? I don't know. That's what just came to mind, dude.
Dude, I got one that, and I wish I could remember what episode it was. She was a little girl, and she was up, hiking up in the mountains with her family. They were up there camping, and she kind of was walking off, and out of nowhere, this massive, like 10.5 foot tall Bigfoot just sprints across the trail in front of her.
Mm.
And goes up this little embankment and just stops. He's not trying to hide from her. He's like right there. And he's not quite looking at, he's like standing with he's facing her, and she stops, and he keeps looking like off to the side. And sure enough, this big, massive male grizzly bear comes poking down the hillside. And as soon as the grizzly bear saw it, she said this Bigfoot like protected her. And yeah, she said she believes that that Bigfoot saved her life.
100%. Oh, that's
Yeah.
wild, dude.
Another one of the craziest ones I've ever heard, and I love this encounter, is this gentleman. He was hunting black powder, muzzle loading, and he took a friend of his, and his friend didn't bring a muzzle loader, so he let his friend use his muzzle loader. His friend goes out, he gets a deer pretty early, and so he brings it back, and so now this guy I interviewed is gonna go out. So as he goes out, it starts snowing, like a heavy, heavy snow. And so he's going to his area, and he comes up to like this shelf, this cliff kind of shelf, and he knew that he couldn't just go straight down. He'd have to zigzag down. And at the bottom was this stream, and the stream was not that deep, but it was kind of long, maybe, I don't know, maybe 40 feet wide, something like that, 50 feet wide. And so the snow really started coming down. He's like, man, I got to get out of the snow. So he looks across the stream, and he sees this like spruce tree, low hanging branches with like a little opening. So he goes across the stream, gets underneath there, completely dry underneath there, and he's checking his powder to make sure his powder is dry and everything. And he just happens to look out through that little opening, and he looks up where he was standing on the hill, and he says he sees this massive guy. And this area was known for like a hunting club that would come out there, and they would hunt in like period clothes. So he's thinking this guy is dressed up as a mountain man, and he's up there, he's somehow up there in all of this period garb hunting clothes, right? So he goes and he starts messing with checking his other stuff, and he looks up again. He doesn't see it. He doesn't see the guy up there. Well, he kind of moves around a little bit inside this tree, and he's looking, and all of a sudden he sees it literally right in front of him across the stream. And it's a massive Bigfoot. And he said it's squatting down like on its haunches, and he sees that it's got snow collecting on its shoulders.
Mm.
And it scoops its hand up, and it's taking a drink of this water. And he realizes that was the thing that was up on the ridge where he was just at not too long ago. And he said he was watching it, and it kind of looked around, scooped up some water, and he must have moved, and something on him made a noise. He said this thing looked like this, went from here and looked straight at him, stood up, and ran off down the stream, through the water and around a bend. And he says there were a lot of large rocks and stuff down there. So there was no way that he's going to be able to catch that thing. And so he's like, what the heck is he going to do? So he gets out, he goes back across, he goes back up the embankment. And as he goes, he sees where this thing was standing. And he's like, okay. So he started going back, and I asked him, I said, "No, so you went back to your base camp?" He's like, "Yep." And he goes, "We left shortly after." I go, "Okay." I go, "Let me ask you a question. So from where you first stopped underneath that tree up on the top of that ridge, did you notice any footsteps as you were going back towards your base camp? So like something had stepped out." He's like, "Yes, I did." He said as he was going back towards his camp, he noticed something had stepped onto the trail after he passed and it had followed him. And he believes that the Bigfoot that he saw up on the ridge was looking for him and didn't see him go over to the other side and into that spruce tree. And so he figured that he lost him. So I don't know what he was doing.
Hmm.
I don't, what do you do? He said the thing was massive.
Dude, that's wild. I can't imagine seeing that. Okay, I got the ultimate. This is the ultimate weirdest, craziest story I've ever gotten.
All right, you guys, here we go.
Okay, so this is the weirdest one. So this is one I wouldn't have believed this in an email. If I got this in an email, I would have been like, oh, I don't know. But like the thing is, so it's the first year in Oak Ridge. I'm at the festival, and it's so crazy there. Like people are just talking to you all day long about encounters, and it's just person after person after person. And I have maps out, and we're marking the maps. There's this one guy. He's got all dark clothes on. He's got dark shades on. And you know when a guy is like he doesn't want to be there, he's like, but he's forced to be there, but he's like, I don't want to be there.
Mhm.
So half an hour, he's just kind of hanging out around my booth, and this other hunter that I actually knew from the area, he comes over, and I see him talk to this guy, be like, hey, dude, you just gotta get this over with. You just gotta get this over with. And he's like, fine, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So he comes over and he's like, I guess I have to tell you this. And I'm like, okay, definitely feel free to share what you would need to share. And he's like, all right, so here's what happened. So I'm a hunter, and I was hunting with my brand new fill in the blank of a really expensive rifle with a scope and my backpack. And I'm up in this field on this remote mountain. And I'm obviously taking out names because we're not going to say where the actual location is for this. So he's in this open alpine meadow, and he's looking for elk up there. He's at one side of the meadow, and all of a sudden he sees something through his scope, and he notices that on either side of the meadow, there's Bigfoot on either side. They almost see him looking at him through the scope, and they start rushing up at him either side of the meadow. This guy freaks out. He leaves his rifle and his backpack, jumps into his truck, and then books it down to Oak Ridge. He's freaking out. He goes down to the bar, and he finds his buddies, and he's like, guys, I left my rifle. I got to get it. I just got the rifle. It's super expensive, but I'm not going back up there alone. You got to come with me. So he gets his buddies to go up there, and what they found when they got back there was wild. So they find in the area where he had left his rifle and his backpack, the rifle looked like a huge hand had gone over the scope and squished the scope, and either side of the scope was blown out, and the barrel of the rifle was bent back, and then it was covered in a form of red liquid, almost like something had tried to mess around with it and in the same time potentially harmed itself. We don't know. So he ends up getting the rifle, getting his backpack, and this is where the story gets a little off the rails. And if I hadn't been there in person, I would be like, oh my goodness. So he's like, he gets a connection with a guy at the Smithsonian, and he's had this rifle in his house in a plastic bag for years. Gets a connection somehow, tells them the story, and the Smithsonian is like, oh, we would love to test this rifle for you. So he sends it off to them in the mail, and then it gets lost in the mail somehow and they never get it, right? And I'm at this point, I'm just like, oh, this is incredible. I mean, thank you so much for telling me. But I didn't ask your name. And he's like, that's because I didn't tell you. And he turned around and then just disappeared into the crowd. And I never saw him again. And I was like, holy mackerel. And the hunter buddy that I knew from the area, he immediately comes out over to me out of nowhere. And he's like, everything that guy just told you was 100% true, because I know the guy, and yeah, it sounds crazy, but it was true. And I was like, holy mackerel.
Man.
That's the wildest thing I've ever heard, 100%. And he was right in front of my face. And when a witness tells you a story and you're right in front of their face and they start getting back in that situation, I mean, emotions can get wild,
I'm going to be speaking at two conferences this year. I'm speaking at the Arkansas Cryptid Fest on June 6th. And I'll be a guest speaker, but I'll have a booth out there where hopefully I'm able to get people to talk to and have them come on the show. But what are some of, because I mean you've done these, of course. What are some of your tips that you would have?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the number one tip for doing an event like this. And I got this from Steve Berg and his buddy John from out there at the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference. So what you need to do is, if you have a booth or you're a vendor or you're a speaker and you have a booth, you need to get a super detailed map of the area that you're in. And you just pretty much need to talk to people about their encounters and get a few dots on the map and write down little sentences about what happened. And once people see like, oh, there's stuff happening around here and I can share what happened too, you're going to get people out of the woodwork that are just be like, oh, let me fill in my area. Let me put a pin there. And dude, it's crazy how it works. It is bonkers. Like, it spreads like wildfire. So I would really recommend, that's like the number one tip for doing one of these events.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'll get like a map of Arkansas and put it on a cork board, and then people can come up and put their pins on the maps, and then I can,
Where is it in Arkansas?
North Little Rock.
Is that near Mena?
I'm not sure.
One of the weirdest, another weird one I got from Arkansas was down near Mena, which is known for heavy crystal deposits.
Okay.
So the account goes is that this individual was waiting in a van outside a person's home, and all of a sudden a Bigfoot appears next to her in the van. She looks over, freaks out, and then it blips out. One of the weirdest things I ever got, until I got a report from Northern Ontario from a cabin area that is an area with heavy crystal deposits. This lady is trying to go to sleep. She's in her bedroom. All of a sudden, she looks over. Bigfoot appears from out of nowhere and then blips out. So I'm like, either this is the wildest stuff I've ever heard, or there's maybe some pattern where if it's an area with a heavy deposit of crystals, weird stuff like that can happen. I don't know. So Mena, Arkansas, there's a Board Camp Crystal Mine. Look into that area. They have portal activity. Bigfoot's coming out of everywhere on this crystal mine. And it's just, I'm going to look into that area more myself
Heck yeah.
to come. But yeah, I mean, you've talked to people, stuff gets weird, right?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I've had some crazy encounters that, I don't know what to do with. And I have a bunch of emails where people have told me their encounters, but they don't want to come on the show, which is perfectly fine. You know, and what I'm doing, I'm just kind of documenting those down, putting them in like a little doc, and that way, just kind of keep them for safekeeping. So if I
Yeah,
do
that's
want
good.
to, you know, read them, I still have them. Um, and yeah, it's just, you know, you mentioned earlier white Bigfoot. You know what I've had a lot of reports of? White dogmen.
Really?
Oh, dude,
Oh, man. Wow.
143, I think it is 143. Um, was one where a deputy sheriff had an encounter with a white dog man, and I'll tell you the story. It's a fascinating story. So he gets a call, dispatcher calls and says there is a report of a vicious animal attack. And as he's going en route to it, yep, episode 143. Um, he's en route as he's driving, he sees this thing run across the road up this embankment, and he slammed on his brakes, pulled over, gets out of his cruiser, and goes up this embankment because he knows this area. This is his patrol area, and he knows up this embankment is just an open field. So he gets up to the top of this open field, and he says he sees this white dog man stop and turns and squares up on him. And he said, I just sat there and I just looked at it. And he said it had blood on its chest,
Oh,
blood
my
on its
goodness.
hands, blood on its maw, and then it just turned around like, "You're not gonna do nothing to me," and ran off. So he gets back in his cruiser and he responds to the area of this vicious animal attack. And as he pulls up, he sees a crowd of people, and he gets out and he starts talking to them. And they're saying, "We saw the white thing. We saw the white thing." And an elderly gentleman comes up and he's like, "It killed my dog." I was like, "What do you mean it killed my dog? What?" And he described exactly what he saw. And he goes, "I hear this commotion in my backyard, and I look out my back window, and my pit bull jumps at this white thing and catches it in midair and goes grabs it by its mouth and just and kills it."
Mm.
Um, this thing actually took out 2 other pit bulls in the area before it ran off, and that's when he saw it. But that was absolutely crazy. And then there was a couple other people that I had on. One saw a white one. I think it's Keith from Michigan. He saw a white one with like blue eyes, like crystal blue eyes up in Michigan.
Oh, my
So,
goodness.
and I'm gonna have him back on for a part two because we just covered from like 91 to like 99. You know, he's had other things happen past that. So, but yeah, it's pretty interesting, man. And again, um, how often do people come to you with dogman encounters?
Not a lot. I mean, I would probably get, to be honest, probably like one every month. It's really
Mm,
not a lot at all.
yeah.
It
Well, I think
was
people go ahead.
sorry, it was more back in the day, but like I'm really more known as the Bigfoot guy now, which is awesome, or one of the Bigfoot guys. So I'm like
Mhm.
every day it's like 5 or 6 emails. It is a lot to keep on top of, but it's an awesome problem to have, for sure.
Yeah.
But
My email is so, I mean, at first, super organized, super easy to find things. I have people in here that send me emails all the time, and like, "Did you read my email? Did you read my email?" And I go back and I look, and I'm like, "Oh, I missed it." You know,
mhm.
I can't find it. You know, yeah, it's. I'm almost thinking I have to hire somebody to try to keep things, or I have to come up with a different type of organization on how I'm gonna to do it. So, but it is an awesome problem to have. So,
It definitely is. And then, dude, you're probably at this point too where like you start to get them not just in your email, and then it's like you go over to TikTok and there's like 10 people because of something just went viral over on TikTok. You're like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely nuts. Like it is bonkers. Yeah, TikTok is like the algorithm over there, you have a Bigfoot video go crazy, and then it's like you have 50 people reach out of nowhere about the
I
same area, and you're like, "Oh my goodness."
I do have one. Would you like to see it?
I would love to see it.
Okay, so I have no, before I do this, I have 2 TikTok accounts.
Okay.
My original one, I can no longer access it for whatever reason.
Mm,
And this is one where this one went I posted this video on. My second one that I have, the one I go to, um, this one has almost no views. Okay. And this is the video that I have. Steamboat, I'm going to show your video. This was taken in East Texas, from a camera that was up in kind of like the awning of a roof, looking out over the backyard. This guy's having issues with like raccoons and things. He made a live trap. He puts it out behind the fence. The fence is like 8 feet tall. He puts it out behind the fence. He handmade this live trap, and out of like old steel shelving out of like old refrigerators. And yeah, let's take a look. You're gonna want to watch from the left, and it moves to the right.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 100% Bigfoot. Oh my goodness, that is one of the best videos I've ever seen.
Now, that video on my original TikTok has over 180, almost 190,000 views.
Easy, yeah.
On my one that I have now, the one that I can access, it has, let's see here. It has 816.
Mm-hmm.
816. So
That's like one that you would think man, that's one you would see on like The Proof is Out There or like shows like that. Like that's a really, really good video. That's probably one of the best I've seen of recent years.
and what it had done is it went all the way to the right. It went down, and Steamboat says that Bigfoot, his name is Samson, grabbed that live trap and peeled it open like a sardine can and reached in, grabbed a live raccoon out of there, and had carry out.
Wow. At first, I was like, the first thought I had when I was watching it, I was like, man, it's like the part of Expedition Bigfoot when they see the shadow on the side of the like Ronnie sees that shadow, but then it's
Mhm.
like you watch that more like, whoa, the silhouette is like it's blatantly a Bigfoot. It's not just a shadow. Like that is awesome, dude.
Yeah. And he said there's another clip, Steamboat's in chat. He's trying to get the other sequence of events from the guy, and also pictures of the live trap. So Steamboat, that's your homework. Stay on it, buddy. Owner wants to move before he gives it to me.
Oh man, wow.
Well, no one is gonna know where he's at. We'll always say is East Texas. That's all we say.
That's all you have to say, really.
That's all we have to say, you know. And you talked about Expedition Bigfoot, you guys. If you haven't checked out, I think it's season 3, the season finale of season 3, when Russell Accord is on that ridge, and he's got this scope, like the spotter scope, and he's got his camera or his phone that's kind of like looking through the scope, and he's looking way off, like I want to say 2 miles, maybe 2 miles. And he goes, "Is that a bear?" And he's like, and he kind of like zooms in with his phone as best as he can, and you see it, and it looks like a bear, but then it stands straight up.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
and then it walks away. And you're like, holy, I don't understand how people don't believe that that's an actual Bigfoot. It is. Everything about it screamed Bigfoot, you know? And it's awesome. And I want to see some video coming out of Iowa.
Yeah, me too, man. That would be awesome.
I definitely,
But
definitely want to. So, bro, we're on here for 2 hours, man.
whew, man, it went by quick too.
I know it did. I apologize.
No, it's all right. It's a good time.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely I'm gonna pick your brain at another time if we possibly can, because I definitely want to try to get my I have the cryptidpodcast.com. I own that. And I'm doing nothing with it. I want to get a website up. I
You
want to
gotta
be able
do
to
something
work.
like that.
I see me and Josh, we're kind of doing something as well, but we're not doing anything because he's got a lot of stuff that's going on in his life and he's trying to get everything going. His business, JS Creatives, is just, I mean, he keeps telling us, dude, I'm having a new client. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, this,
Oh
this.
wow.
So I definitely want to do something with the cryptidpodcast.com. So I have it. I haven't done anything with it, but I think I'm going to. In fact, I know I'm going to. I'm also thinking about doing a Patreon as well. I've got the ground work done for Patreon, and so yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
That would be awesome.
It's gonna happen.
I would recommend you ways for people to. So you have a community that obviously wants to support you.
Yeah.
And that's just another way that they can do that. And I think that would be really cool to look into.
Yeah, these guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I have one of the greatest communities um, on YouTube, and even in the community, the whole Bigfoot community, the whole cryptid community. I think I have one of the best, live show communities out there. I mean, these guys are great. My mods are fantastic. My members are amazing.
Mhm.
Before we go, let's plug you and your stuff again.
Yes. Bigfoot Society, if you want to listen to a podcast where pretty much any show you listen to for the last few years it's going to be a Bigfoot encounter, and BigfootSocietyPodcast.com for your links. And you can listen to that on YouTube or wherever you listen to audio podcasts. And thank you so much, Dano, for having me on the show to represent Iowa.
Bro, I can't thank you enough. And I'm just going to tell you right now, you have an open invitation. You ever want to come back, you have some breaking news that you also want to share with us over here, by all means, just shoot me an email. And if I don't have anything planned that night, even if I do have something planned that night, we'll do something live and get it out there.
Awesome, dude. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Now, just let you guys know, and you so as well, Jeremiah. I like to play a little bit of music that I create in an app called Suno.
Okay.
And
Nice.
if you want to stick around for it, you can. If you don't want to, you can definitely bounce out it. But everybody in the chat, if you guys want to kind of hang out and listen to some music, it's some fun music. I enjoy making it. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to every single person that has jumped in tonight. Thank you for we got some special thank yous. I want to say thank you to Franklin for the $10 super chat, Skitter for the 5 gifted, Actual the 10 gifted, 47 Actual. He did another 5 gifts, so that's 15. Mad Hatter, new member, thank you so much. 47 Actual with another 10. Thank you so much. 10 gifted memberships. Mad Hatter, a $3 super sticker. Thank you so much. Skitter, 1 gifted. Skitter, a 2nd gifted. And Larry Sharp celebrates 7 months as a member of the channel. So thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate every single one of you guys for doing that. Again, you don't need to, but I truly, truly appreciate it. Also, if you guys want to become a member of the channel, it's $2.99 for membership. And let you guys know that we are doing a member giveaway at the end of April. So I'm just letting you guys know it starts April 1st. It ends at the end of April. You saw 2 of the items. Man Aaron, who is the owner of the Ally Coffee Roaster in Cadillac, Michigan, he said he's in on part of the giveaway as well. So, and you guys, I am going to look for another hat just like the one I have on, minus the wear on it. That'll be part of the giveaway as well. I will be doing another set of the Cryptic Kids. I don't know if you know what the Cryptic Kids are.
Oh, I don't know what the Cryptic Kids are.
Well, the Cryptid Kids are some 3D printed cryptids that a buddy of mine makes. And so we have the Jersey Devil.
Whoa, those are cool.
We have, let's see what else we got here. I got a box of them. Let's see what we got here, you guys. We've got Yeti.
Nice.
We've got Dogman. We've got Bigfoot.
Dude, that's great.
We got okay, we got this big guy. We got Mothman.
Solid.
And let's see what else we got in here. This is one of my favorite ones. Chupacabra.
You don't see many. That's pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna try to get him to make me another one of these guys. The Wendigo.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah, that's what I'm also gonna provide for the first place winners. Second place winners will get 3 of them. First place winner will get 1. So that's what's to look forward to with us for the membership. So again, if you guys want to hang out for some music, we're going to play some. I'll play a really fun one. Jeremiah, just let you know this is what we do. But after the music's played, you guys, I'll sign off. Again, you guys, thank you so much. Let's enjoy some music. This one's called Two Good Old Boys. Let me find it here real quick. Here we go.
Two good old boys in a beat-up truck. Mud on the tires, yeah, they don't give a well, you know what. Coffee in a thermos, dog in the back, heading down a ridgeline, following the track. Sun goes down and the woods come alive. That's where they heard a holler just past mile 5. Flashlights cutting through that misty dew. Out in them pines, looking for you know who. Bigfoot, they're calling your name. Through the hollers and the creeks, through the wind and the rain. From the tracks they find to the house they hear. They're chasing that legend year after year. Two brothers of the brush, friendship tried and true. Out in them sticks, looking for you know who. Bigfoot. They've heard the stories since they were kids about a hairy old giant that the locals hid. One's got a camera, the other's got a gun, but both got a dream that keeps them on the run. Campfire crackle, something snaps a limb. They grin at each other, it's him. Hearts pounding wild in that midnight blue. Out in them hills, looking for you know who. Bigfoot. You can run, but you can't hide. They'll be rolling through the backwoods side by side. From the tracks they find to the yells they hear. Been doing this dance for 20-odd years. Two souls bound by the wild they pursue. Out in them sticks, looking for you know who. Bigfoot. Maybe one day they'll catch your sign. A shadow moving down that timber line. But even if they never do, they'll keep that promise between two good old boys with a heart so true. Bigfoot. That legend's alive. Through the cold, through the dark, the forever drive. Cause it ain't the finding, it's the hunt they knew. The laughter, the miles of friendship too. So raise a jar to that chosen few. Out in the woods, looking for you know who. Bigfoot. Some say he ain't. But them two boys, they don't care none. They'll be out there till kingdom come. Looking for you know who. You know who. Yep.
All right, guys, that's the show for tonight. If you guys want to hang around for a little bit, you can. I'll play a couple more songs, but I know Jeremiah's probably got to get out of here. Jeremiah, I can't thank you enough, man. I truly appreciate it. If there's anything I could ever do for you, please let me know. And we live close together. We definitely
I know, man. It's really not that far. Yeah. But thank you so much for having me, guys. It has been a fun night, and you guys are awesome in the chat. Good stuff, guys.
All right, man. I appreciate you, brother. Peace out, buddy. Later, guys. All right, guys, that's the show for tonight. Again, thank you so much to Jeremiah and his crew that's hopped over from his TikTok and his channel. Thank you guys so much for jumping in. Mods, members, subscribers, listeners, viewers, one and all, thank you so much. Remember, you guys are perfect just the way you guys are. Always remember to love yourself, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and bet on yourself. Never let anyone or anything ever hold control over you or your happiness. And the world, honestly, is a better place with you guys in it. You guys remember, a legend begins with a sighting, and I'll see you on the next show.
And just like that, the night begins to close in. The fire burns a little lower. The woods grow quiet again. But if you've learned anything tonight, it's that silence doesn't mean you're alone. Somewhere out there, beyond the tree line, down that forgotten road, deep in the places maps don't like to go, something is still moving, still watching, still waiting. I want to thank each and every one of you for spending your night with me here on the Cryptid Podcast. Whether you joined us live, shared your thoughts in the chat, or you're catching this later, you're part of this journey now. And remember, these stories don't belong to fear. They belong to the witnesses, to the hunters who stopped hunting, to the hikers who never went back, to the people who looked into the dark and realized the dark looked back. If you've had an encounter with Bigfoot, Dogman, or something you can't explain, your story matters. And one day, it may be told right here on the Cryptid Podcast. Until next time, keep your eyes on the tree line, trust your instincts, and never ignore that feeling that tells you you're not alone. I'm Dano, and this is the Cryptid Podcast. Good night, everyone.